welcome back, everyone. This is part two from our yellow Subsonic episode. We had some technical difficulties with the last one that we're trying to fix. So hopefully this is better. We wanted to still talk about the Made in Mexico graffiti yellow that Fender did release. So if we do bring up something that we talked about already in the last video, do apologize because that was recorded a couple days ago. So we will get right in on it. So this is the Made in Mexico one that Fender did release in graffiti yellow. So Brian, why don't you kind of take us up down memory lane here?
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and talk about how I bought the green one and I had a friend in high school that bought the yellow. And I've said this before, it was that picture of Tom holding it with the maple neck on the couch in the Musician's Friend catalog. He gets the yellow and he's like, what the heck? It has this rosewood neck. Why? It should have the maple. And so it was kind of a misconception, I guess, because we were really hoping it would have the rosewood neck. It didn't. Or, I mean, we were hoping it had the maple neck. It had the rosewood. But, you know, as time has gone on, it's become kind of a iconic staple. If you know, Jack from All Time Low had a Made in Mexico signature, and Ian from Newfound Glory had one just for fun. The thing that blew my mind, though, is if you look at the top left picture, it's a rosewood that he's holding, but it doesn't look like his signature model. That pic drove me crazy. Like, why was Tom never seen playing this guitar? Why is this, Stefan?
Well, somebody at Fender was good on the computer and did some good photoshopping. So what they did, and Fender's done this a couple times in the past, even with Tom's guitars, we talked about it in the Subsonic episode where they photoshopped one of Tom's like other Strats on top of the orange so that it didn't say, Subcaster on the top. And they did the same with this one for, obviously for promotions and whatnot for the yellow one, but they took the maple neck and just photoshopped a rosewood neck on the body so they can use it for magazines and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that blew my mind because I was looking for that guitar to show up again for years. I was like, why is he not playing this? But yeah, just a Photoshop. That's the same guitar. Stefan has seen the original pictures from the photographer, so he can confirm that is the same guitar. And I think we were also going to touch a little bit some of my old conversations with Tom's old tech, Doug. Were pretty cool, pretty interesting. I'm just going to kind of reflect on some of the things that he said. He told me about how these guitars were rushed and the paint was still kind of wet. You know how paint has to cure. And he put the guitars in the cases and it would leave the imprint on the guitar. So when you picked up the yellow one, if you held it in the light just right, you could see that like cheetah, leopard print, whatever it was, in the guitar. And I asked him about the yellow, and I said, I feel like he didn't use it much. He only used it in 2002, and he said, well, he was more fond of the orange one, but he would use the yellow if he had like an obligation. I was like, what is an obligation? And Stefan was like, dude, he probably needed to play the yellow because it was a signature model. It was 2002. It was the Pop Disaster Tour. Isn't that what you were saying?
Yeah, I think that's what we kind of came to the conclusion. I've talked to a few people as well, and they kind of said the same thing, that he used it because he had to, he had an obligation to sell the guitars, right? And if you look at, because I think, and I could be wrong, but I think we talked about it in the episode we talked about the Squires, the signature Squires, where they had the black and the white. So when Fender, made these guitars for Tom, it was also during the time when they made the black one, the all black that he smashed, and then the all white one that he used in the rock show. So I think, when these were out, these were the three that he kind of had to promote a little bit more for Fender. And he just, again, just like we said before, he asked for a yellow guitar, came back with a white, or not white, a maple neck, and I don't think was the biggest fan of it from what we've heard.
Yeah, in the conversation I had, Doug said he didn't dislike the guitar. It was just a lot louder than his others, and he just kind of felt like he didn't like that was kind of Mark's thing to play these like hot pink, bright guitars. And even though he had that surf green, it was like the yellow was like bam, especially with that maple neck.
Yeah.
So
especially
kind of
during the time of Pop Disaster too, right? Like it was just after like the Boxcar. So he had Padre, he had a plain like white. He had a plain black, even the black with the white stripe. They're very more darker. I mean, the white obviously is not, but I mean it's still a very solid color. It's not like boom in your face like his original lineup was with the orange and the greens and stuff like that. So yeah, I could see why he would pivot away from it. But you were saying also before, I'm not sure if it was the last video or not, but that the maple neck, it does give off a little bit of a brighter, louder.
Yeah, it's a brighter and it's a little bit louder of a tone. And I mean, for somebody like me, where I'm just playing in my house, and it's not a big deal. But like, if you're a rock star playing these huge amphitheaters, the slightest thing could make a huge difference. So that could also be a big factor. It might not even be the color. It might just be, hey, we don't like how this has a slightly different tone than our rosewood guitars.
Yeah, and that's probably what probably a pretty big reason why I think too. But all in all, it's still a super good looking guitar. Like regardless if it has I like it with the maple neck, if I'm being honest. I actually think it looks good with the maple neck, but I mean, the Made in Mexico's with the rosewood, they're...
I feel like they would have sold more if it had a maple. I just think that it would have appealed to more than just Blink fans, and people would have eaten that up.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it as well before, but the yellow was more less common, I think, than the other ones. Like there was less. Right. You were saying how many greens compared?
Yeah, I think I asked somebody at Fender years ago about how many were made, and they didn't really know. They just said it was one of their best-selling guitars ever, and the margins were huge. So even at $500, they were able to make a lot of money on each one. And I remember he said it was like 10-1 on the greens. Like there was like 10 more greens to every one other.
That's crazy. I believe it though.
I believe it. And you said that you knew somebody with a Squire and it was chipping off and it was green underneath, right?
Yeah, somebody messaged us on the Q&A2 Instagram page and saying that he had a black Squire and it started chipping away and it was green underneath. So what they just did was, I guess, they took a lot of the green bodies and just spray painted them.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
And I'll throw one more tip out here because I did it myself. If you're looking for a maple Made in Mexico graffiti yellow, the Powerhouse Strat, and it even has a humbucker in the bridge, so you can easily convert that to like a TD style guitar, have a maple neck, have graffiti yellow. The only catch is it's not a hardtail, but I mean, it's so cheap and able to get close that it might be worth it to you.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's a lot of like the Made in Mexico's are just going for such a crazy amount right now that, I mean, if you want it for the collectibility, I get it. If you want it for the playability and actually to play and enjoy, I mean, it's so much better off, I think, just to piece them together and kind of make your own. Maybe we should do a video on that one time.
I assume that everybody that's watching already knows this, but none of them are subsonic other than Tom's. They would all be standard linked Fender guitars that you could play. Yeah. And obviously you can still play Adam's song on a standard linked guitar, so don't even worry.
Yeah, that's very true. Anything else you wanted to bring up about this one?
No, I mean, the only thing I think I said in the previous recording was in that photo. I love how the piping of the couch is yellow and it matches the guitar.
Yeah.
I just feel like that photo is so iconic, and the way that the photographer, maybe he told him to hold the yellow one because of that, but it was just perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
And this was, I think, like these photos, I think, were taken during the
Mark, Tom, and Travis show.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool though to see.
Yeah, man.
All right, that's I think that's it. Thanks again, guys. Again, sorry for a 2-part episode on the guitar, but we wanted to still finish it off and kind of go over the Made in Mexico stuff. So, like always, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Share with people that would be interested. It would mean a lot to both of us. And yeah, thanks everybody. Have a good night. See you in the next video.
Bye.